So I don't really have a whole lot of build footage for you on all this that we did, but I just wanted to kind of run you through some updates on how we're going here on the barge project. So where we left off was we're looking to get hoses set up for this for the crane rig. So our hoses finally came in. We just got them laid out here basically just so we could do some trial runs, make sure everything worked. We got nice quick disconnects, so these lines can be separated from our power pack unit, and then we can pull the whole power pack off if we need to service it, and it's, you know, you're not breaking connections and spitting hydraulic fluid everywhere. So and up here we just kind of got this temporarily mounted, have our control panel. So here's all the controls, you know, for rotation and all the different cylinders, in and out on the cylinders up on the crane here. So all new hoses. Temporarily got our fuel tank set up to run the unit. Got our new filter put in. So actually everything worked pretty good. We just did a test run the other day. No leaks on the power pack and all the hose side. That was all good. Eventually we'll have this all cleaned up, and the hoses kind of will be tucked away up into the helm there, which we're gonna have to redo because that needs a little work. But so we routed all the hoses, the turn motor, got those all turned in there, and then during our test run we found out that the rams are leaking pretty good. So or our hydraulic cylinders are leaking. So looks like we're gonna end up pulling these off. You can see leaking a little bit there. We're gonna end up pulling these cylinders off and having them resealed, gone through, and then, you know, put them back on so we're 100% operational and not spitting and spewing hydraulic fluid all over the place. And we just used 1540 weight engine oil actually for the testing, just because that's some of the stuff we had on hand, and we kind of thought, yeah, we might be losing it, so we didn't spend the money on the you know, we're gonna have to run like non-hazardous, non-toxic type hydraulic fluid since we're gonna be on the water. So if we had a mishap on the water, we're not contaminating, you know, the waterway there. So, but just for our test here on land, we just had some engine oil that we threw in there, so that worked out pretty well. But yeah, so the hydraulic cylinders are going to be pulled, resealed, gone through. So that's going to be the next step here, is getting some help running through those. But other than that, everything worked good. It was nice to see this thing actually moving and things working, because you know, this was a bit of a project just to get that assembled and working. You know, obviously it wasn't something that was store bought. It was kind of home engineered there, so it was neat to see it working, everything moving how it should. Just some leaks, and we kind of thought that because this is a IMT 425 knuckle boom crane, and it's a 1989 model. So I don't know if it's ever been, you know, I'm sure the cylinders at some point maybe had been gone through, but it's also probably been sitting for 10 or 15 years too. So you know, get what you pay for, so that's not a big deal. We'll just run through it, seal it up, and go on our way here. But it's kind of exciting, you know, got the crane working. So next step is to get our cylinders done, and then mount our other pontoons that we're going on the side here, and we'll be on our way. On the pontoons, some more flotation, and I'll show you guys kind of how this thing is all set up. We made these 2x2 angle iron frameworks. Here's one in the making. So you just start it off like that, and you start loading in your barrels, and you're actually torquing, you're pulling this section down against the next one, and then you tack weld it, or you could bolt it if you wanted. And then these just keep, if you hit something, really keeps them from popping. But you can see it's not going anywhere because this angle is actually biting into it. So we're just going to keep going all the way down the line until we get 9 barrels per side. Here's the pre-cut ladder rungs that go there. So we're just going to keep popping them in, and we'll have some pontoons by the end of the day. So these are going to be a little extra flotation here for the pontoon, or for the pontoon barge. So each one of these will represent their own, their own pontoon. They'll be mounted on either side of the barge. So I'll kind of walk you through them and show you what I did. Okay, so sorry I didn't get a whole lot of footage here when we were assembling these. Kind of all hands on deck thing to get these assembled. But I built the framework, as you guys saw before, basically a big ladder section. These are 27 feet long. And then it's a 2-inch by 2-inch angle iron. And what you do is you just start on one end with this section, and then you're actually setting the barrel in there so it's snug, tight here. Then you lay this down, and you're actually using like ratchet straps, or you can use come-alongs, and you're sucking this in so that you're pinching the barrel in between this, and that's what's actually holding it. So you don't need any straps, anything like that, and it gets nice and solid. And see how that's biting? It's biting into the barrel here, and it's not going to move because it's tension there. But these bolts don't actually physically go into anything, but they're there just so it won't pop out of the lip when the barrels like contract under real cold temperatures or something, because they will shrink a little bit, and they'll just keep it from popping out. And when these pontoons are mounted on the barge, it's actually going to be mounted, this will be the water side down, so that all the pressure is pushing up onto that too. So, but they're not going to pop out, they're locked in tight. So made 2 of these sections, 27 foot overall length on them. It took 18 barrels, so each barrel is good for about 450 pounds of flotation. So the combined both pontoons, I think you're looking at about 8,100 pounds of flotation, and that's would be a fully submerged barrel basically. So if we want to just cut that in half so that our barrels are riding right down the middle, we're still looking at over 4,000 extra pounds of flotation, and that was the idea. So you could pretty much pull whatever we wanted up onto the barge, and we're not pulling minivans on there or anything, but in theory, if you needed to flip a boat over, or something with some real heft to it, you could get that out and set it up on the deck on the barge there. So I think eventually we're gonna build up off of this and deck these so that it's gonna match the deck height on the barge itself. And then how I'm going to attach these is with we're going to use basically 2-inch receiver hitches, like on the back of a truck. Your standard 2-inch square stock will be mounted on here at the correct height to match our deck height, and then there'll be a 2-inch receiver on the frame that we welded up. That's the crane base. So that framework will support the weight, and this will help lift float the whole barge. But we'll probably do 2 of those receivers, and then we can use the crane on the barge. When we're trailering the thing, we don't want to be over 8.5 feet wide, so we'll have these mounted on the deck. When we get to the boat launch, we'll start the crane up and pick these, slide them into those receivers. It'll pin them, and then one on each side, so we'll be around 12 foot wide when we're in the water, but just to keep it road legal and not have to go wide load or anything on it, we'll have these removable. So yeah, came out pretty good. Alright, so I'm actually back here at the barge, and I kind of wanted to show you guys, none of the decking is actually attached right now. It's just sitting on there, so we could pull it when we're doing work on our hoses and everything, so for the hydraulic system. But I want to show you guys where I was thinking about mounting the new pontoons, the new barrel pontoons that we built. So we got this heavy duty frame that you guys, if you're watching the previous videos, you could see I welded up, and that's to kind of spread the weight of that crane upon like a larger surface area, to hold the weight and everything of that crane. But we're going to attach the 2-inch receivers here, probably one in the front, one in the back, so those pontoons will slide into here, and we'll have a big red handled pin or something with a clip to keep the pin in, and that will be what will attach the pontoons to the barge itself, and it'll give us our added flotation, or added another 2 foot approximately on each side of the barge, give us a little width. So here we are.